world, not just the country, the hottest record in the world. They singing it in China, in Russia.
Trick Daddy just went on Instagram Live and called a wave of women old raggedy for coming after Young Miami's song. LisaRaye sat down with Carlos King and admitted she is actually conflicted about the same record she already went viral dancing to. And India.Arie is now out here insisting she never called for a boycott after the whole internet already ran with the idea that she did. This thing has turned into a full-blown generational war, and today we are pulling every single receipt. Let's get into it. This did not start with LisaRaye. It did not start with Trick Daddy. It started with two other women, and it happened fast. In June, singer Nietzsche Gilbert, formerly of the group Brownstone, went on her YouTube series and called Spend Dat low vibrational. She was clear that she thinks Caresha is beautiful.
All my scamming ass niggas say.
But she did not hold back on how she feels about the message in the song. She said flat out, "I hate the song." Days later, singer-songwriter India.Arie piled on. She replied to a Threads post pushing for a boycott of the track and said the song's massive popularity was a crystal clear sign of this much bigger truth. She also brought up Young Miami's past public support of Sean Diddy Combs.
It is being wrongly reported that I think we should boycott this song of the summer.
Who is currently serving time on Mann Act charges and used that history to make her larger point about what listeners are choosing to celebrate. Then came the walk back. India.Arie came back out and said the whole thing had gotten twisted. "I don't think we should boycott," she said. "What I want is to see people understand the power of words and music." She went on to call the entire firestorm around her comment absurd and added, "Everybody's going to make the choices they want to make." Too late. Producer Jay White did it, threw gasoline on it by dropping a video that mashed up Spend Dat with India.Arie quote,'s own record video, clearly trolling the whole debate. That clip is what really sent this thing into a different gear, and from there it spread across every timeline, every group chat, every comment section. Podcast host Joe Budden even devoted airtime to breaking down India.Arie quote,'s original comment.
Listening to the project, especially disc 1, I can appreciate,
which is exactly how you know a celebrity opinion has escaped its original post and turned into a full news cycle. What started as one singer's honest reaction on her own YouTube series had, within a matter of days, pulled in producers, podcasters, and eventually two more major names, LisaRaye and Trick Daddy, who had absolutely nothing to do with the original conversation until the internet dragged them in. Here is the part people are not talking about enough. Before any of this blew up, LisaRaye had already jumped on the Spend Dat challenge herself. No hesitation. She posted a 15-second clip in a white swimsuit and sheer cover-up.
Looks like India.Arie's comment, "Words have power," got Lisa
doing the full choreography. Arm raises, hip isolations, knee bends, reportedly while on a getaway. The clip pulled in over 1.4 million views. Young Miami herself slid into the comments and hyped her up. Fans went wild too, with one writing, "She's 58 and doing the thing, y'all. Don't let your age limit you from anything." Another commented that her body was tight and that the whole look was far more tasteful and classy than most of the young women half her age. Of course, not everyone agreed. A chunk of the replies questioned whether a woman her age should be doing that dance at all, and the comment section split right down the middle before the bigger controversy even hit. Keep in mind, this challenge itself had already turned into its own phenomenon before LisaRaye even touched it. It had been trending since May, with a wave of influencers and celebrities jumping in one after another, some of them chasing giveaways tied to the trend, including a Goyard-related contest that one influencer ended up winning. Even Young Miami's own father got in on it, dancing along with her in a clip that had fans joking about exactly where she gets her energy from. So by the time LisaRaye posted her version, she was not starting a moment. She was stepping into one that had already taken over the internet for weeks. So LisaRaye was already tangled up in this song's cultural moment for fun. Then she sat down with Carlos King, and the tone shifted. She admitted that, once she actually processed what Young Miami is saying in the lyrics, she felt some type of way about it. She told Carlos she understands why people feel a certain way about the record. Then she clarified her own position directly. It's only for fun, it's not to be taken literally. In other words, she is not walking back the fact that she danced to it, but she is also not pretending the lyrics do not raise questions. That nuance is exactly why this got messy once it started getting clipped and shared out of context. But on the internet, that gets flattened into, LisaRaye is against the song, real quick. If LisaRaye kept it diplomatic, Trick Daddy did the exact opposite. He went on Instagram Live and did not hold a single punch. He opened by saying Young Miami has the hottest record in the world right now, and he does not get why it is pulling this much hate, especially from older women. Then he went in. Every day y'all get on this internet and act like y'all life is peaches and cream, he said. Young Miami, you better not let these old raggedy ones deter nothing you are trying to do. He kept going. He told critics that music is not for everybody, and if they do not like it, the fix is simple. Turn off the radio, close the subscriptions, log off Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, because as long as they stay online, they are going to keep hearing it anyway. Then he made it personal, speaking directly on Young Miami's behalf, telling critics he does not care how they feel and to go spend that money regardless. Trick did not stop at general criticism either. When the heat specifically turned toward India.Arie, he hopped into that part of the conversation too and started clowning her looks instead of debating her point, telling people to leave the singer alone and cracking that critics were not shaped like her. So the whole thing was reading as jealousy dressed up as concern. That line alone got clipped and reposted everywhere, with hip-hop accounts pushing it out to hundreds of thousands of views within hours. Reactions split hard. Some fans loved that Trick Daddy stepped up for Young Miami without flinching. Others felt like going after India.Arie "S looks" instead of her actual argument only made the whole situation messier and meaner than it needed to be. While all of this was happening, how has Young Miami herself responded? She barely has. Instead of issuing her own statement, she let her fans do the talking, reposting a couple of tweets defending her. One read that people would have to be old and washed up to hate on the song. Another went even harder, pointing out that hip-hop has celebrated murder, disrespect toward women, and drug dealing for decades without this level of backlash, then asking why a song about hustling and getting money was suddenly the problem. She did not stop scrolling either. Music executive Isaac Hayes III jumped into the discourse on social media, calling the outrage over the record hypocritical and goofy. Meanwhile, Young Miami just kept living her life in real time. She was caught on video performing in Tallahassee, Florida, at Potbelly on July 1st, wearing a matching pink set and throwing cash into the crowd as "Spend Dat" blasted through the speakers, rapping every word and dancing like none of the noise was reaching her. Don Toliver also brought her out as a special guest during a show in LA specifically to perform the song live, and she is not slowing down anytime soon. She is set to kick off a 25-city motion party tour with Bossman Lowe starting July 16th. On top of all that, the numbers keep climbing. The song debuted at number 66 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has steadily risen to number 25, the highest chart position of her career, solo or with City Girls. It has racked up over 1 million TikTok creations, soundtracked the Knicks NBA Finals locker room celebration, and even cracked the Apple Music Top 50 for the first time ever. The controversy somehow is only making the record bigger, and every new headline about the backlash seems to send another wave of curious listeners straight to streaming platforms to hear exactly what people are arguing about. That is the part that has to sting critics the most. In a normal controversy, backlash tends to slow a record down. Here, it is doing the opposite. Every time Nietzsche Gilbert or India.Arie "S names trend alongside Spend Dat, the song picks up another round of new streams from people who had never even heard it before and just wanted to know what the fuss was about. Strip away the insults and the clapback tweets. And there is an actual argument happening here, and it is one people in the industry keep circling back to. Supporters of Young Miami keep making the same point. Male rappers have rapped about money, hustling, and far darker subject matter for years without facing this level of moral policing. To them, Spend Dat is entertainment rooted in her Miami upbringing and her city girl's persona, not a literal how-to guide. And the backlash feels like a double standard aimed specifically at a woman having fun and getting paid. Critics like Nietzsche Gilbert and India.Arie are not exactly saying the record should not exist either. Their worry is about what a catchy hook quietly normalizes once it is on repeat in the ears of much younger listeners, detached from any real consequence. Older women in the industry tend to hear songs like this through the lens of long-term impact. Younger fans hear the same record through the lens of performance, humor, and a very specific kind of freedom hip-hop has always rewarded, just usually not this loudly for a woman. Both sides are reacting to something real. That is exactly why this refuses to die down. And notice who is actually catching the heat in this story. It is not the male producers who helped build the record. It is not the male rappers who have been rapping about hustling, scamming, and worse for decades, without a single trending debate about impact. The scrutiny landed almost entirely on women, on both sides, women criticizing a woman, and a man stepping in loudly to defend her by attacking other women's looks instead of their arguments. That is the piece a lot of people online kept circling back to once the dust started settling, because whichever side people picked, almost everyone agreed the conversation somehow always ends up landing hardest on women in this genre. Once Trick Daddy's comments started circulating, the internet basically split into two trenches, and neither side was backing down. One side ran straight to the comments to co-sign him, arguing he was simply saying out loud what a lot of Young Miami's fans were already thinking, that grown women coming at a younger artist over a fun record felt less like concern and more like jealousy. The other side pushed back hard on how he chose to do it, pointing out that calling a group of women old and dragging India.Arie quote-s looks into a conversation about lyrics did not actually address a single point anyone raised. It just changed the subject to something meaner and easier to win. Fan pages built entire posts around dissecting his exact wording, time-stamping the clip, and asking followers to vote on whether he went too far. Some accounts sided fully with Young Miami's camp, reposting his lines as some of the funniest, most unfiltered defenses of the year. Others called it a clear example of how quickly a disagreement about a song can turn into an attack on women's appearances. The second, a man decides to get involved. Either way, the clip did exactly what viral clips do. It kept the story alive, well past the point where the original criticism from Nietzsche Gilbert and India.Arie would have naturally faded out on its own. Disagreement about a song can turn into an attack on women's appearances. The second, a man decides to get involved. Either way, the clip did exactly what viral